I'm dying to just like beat the shit out of somebody. And I feel like stripper, like anything kind of like slinky. I know how to kick my legs really high. Anything cat like that has like a feline quality, I'm dying to do.
Hello, I'm Russ Milhey from The Direct. Thank you for talking to me about the movie, and congratulations at being at South by.
Hey, thank you.
Now, the movie is about, someone getting advice from an unexpected source. So kind of in your own words, can you talk about why it is so important to be open to advice from unexpected places, but also just to strangers in general?
Oh yeah, I mean, I come from like a pretty unfiltered family, so I'd say I got a lot of like really unhinged fatherly advice growing up, and there wasn't a lot of, I was like lucky to not have shame. I just remember my dad one time being like, Ellen, she has a clitoris, which is crazy. But I think that kind of drew me to this movie. And yeah, I just think it's really important.
Now, the movie's also about someone trying to get the attention of a crush. What is the craziest thing you have ever done to get someone's attention?
I mean, oh gosh, that's a good question. What is the craziest thing I've ever done? I went to like a clown class once because this stand-up guy was really into clowning. That was pretty weird.
How did it go?
I mean, we had sex, but then that was that.
Well, there you go.
It got me to
Success, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, a quick unrelated question, but it is truly great to see you in like roles like these. And so I wanted to ask, if Marvel or DC come a-knocking, are there any roles within those universes you'd want to explore?
Yeah, I'm dying to just like beat the shit out of somebody. And I feel like stripper, like anything kind of like slinky. I know how to kick my legs really high. Anything cat like that has like a feline quality, I'm dying to do.
Yeah. Now,
Cat who beats cat body beat shit out of.
when it comes to this movie, last question for you. What is the biggest surprise challenge you came across doing it that you just would have never expected that you'd have to run into one day?
Gosh, I think like authentically reacting to jizz in like a horror movie context. There was like a female ejaculate horror thing. I'm sorry to say this to you. And like trying to like earnestly be like, that was a challenge.
It's amazing to be here at South by, so that must be really exciting.
I mean, yeah, it's my first time, my first feature, so it's like 0 to 100, 0 to 69. Hey, it's amazing. I also love this city. It's lovely.
No pressure at all, First film, South by.
Yeah, whatever. No biggie. No big.
Now, the film follows, someone who gets advice from an unexpected place. In your own words, can you kind of talk about why it's important for people to be open to advice from unexpected places and even strangers?
I mean, I think that what's beautiful about being a human being is that we're also different and that everyone has their own take. Like everyone has a different vantage point on life. So it's cool to get it from a different vantage point. So then now you're like this well-rounded person. Yeah.
It also follows someone who's just looking to impress their crush, get their attention. So for you, what's the craziest thing you've ever done to get someone's attention?
The craziest thing I've ever done? I mean, I've emailed them before and like confessed through email, school email. Like the school gave me an email address and I found his school given email address and emailed him.
How'd that go?
I said immediately after, oh, my cousin hacked into my account and went through my yearbook and just chose anyone and it was you. Yeah.
Did he buy it?
I think he like sent like a laughing, crying emoji, and then never spoke to me again.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was 11. It was heartbreaking in the moment, but I don't think about it ever.
Last question for you. When tackling this movie, what was the most surprising challenge that you ran across that you just never thought you would ever run into in your life?
Oh, shoot. The most surprising challenge that I never thought I'd run into? I mean, I kind of expected to be pretty freaked out about being on my first feature with like such a amazing, stellar, stacked cast. Something I didn't account for, I had to wear like this pleated skirt, and I didn't account for just the amount of chafing that would occur. But Syracuse is so like hot and wet. So like everyone's sweating, so I had to like order special knee length biker shorts because I was chafing so hard.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me, and I look forward to seeing the movie.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you to see it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so excited. I can't believe we're here at South by. It's the perfect festival for the film.
I'm Russ Milheim from The Direct, by the way. It's great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, too.
Now, my first question is, just can you talk about the challenges of balancing kind of an emotionally resonating story while also, having that silliness of a comedy and never taking away from one or the other?
I think, honestly, my touchstone was always John Hughes films. He had the perfect balance of comedy and heart always, and he let the funny people come in and just be funny, and those people are always the people that surprise you and have the most like heart and depth. So it just was an easy match as soon as we figured out who our cast was.
Now, the film follows someone who, gets advice from an unexpected place. In your own words, why do you think it's important for people to be open to getting advice unexpectedly or even from strangers?
Because to me, some of the best advice I've ever taken are from the most random people that I've never seen again in my life. I don't know if you have this where like someone will give you a certain message in your life and you'll hear it 20 times, but the 21st time by someone who's like at a Barnes & Noble with you just happens to mention and it just clicks. I just always think it's important to stay open.
Now, I have to ask a quick unrelated question.
Okay.
A Workaholics movie was very nearly happened before Paramount Plus, decided to pull the plug, and it was right before filming. Have there been any talks recently to try to resurrect that, especially now that they're transitioning under new ownership?
I have heard nothing, but that doesn't mean anything. I usually, I was the last to hear about the Workaholics movie happening, so I feel like I'll be the last to hear if it's happening again. But we'll see.
Last question.
Possible.
Last question for you. This movie is also about someone trying to get the attention of a crush. For you, what is the craziest thing that you have ever done to get someone's attention?
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think. The craziest thing I did to get attention. I did call someone's parents once when I was in the back of a limo in prom to try to get us to hang out longer. So I pretended to be the person's mom to the limo driver who was just a few feet away, asking for us to be able to stay out longer. So that's a pretty weird thing that I did.
Did it work?
It did work. We got to stay out longer.
Nice. Well, congratulations on that and also on the film. Thank you.
So much.
My first question for you is, the film follows someone who gets advice from an unexpected source. So in your own words, why do you think it's important for people to be open to advice from unexpected sources and even strangers?
Wow, that's such a fantastic question. I think for me, a big thing is the fact that everybody has their own life experiences, right? And everybody moves through life differently. And I think it's really important to take advice from unexpected people or strangers because they may have experienced something growing up that is either similar to what you experienced or something very different, and getting different perspectives around everything I think is incredibly important, and just helps understand different perspectives and different worlds and people's lives and cultures, and I think it's just really important to understand those perspectives.
The movie's also about someone trying their best to get the attention of a crush.
Sure.
So in your own personal life, what's the craziest thing you've done to try to get someone's attention?
Yeah, I think the craziest thing I have done. This actually was recent. I don't know if this is the craziest. This is just the first thing that pops into my head. This was like a year and a half. No, actually, scratch that. I don't know when this was. This was a long time ago. But it was, I was at a beach, and I was playing beach volleyball. There was this girl that showed up. It was a friend of a friend. And I was like, oh, I really have to show off. Like, this girl's really cute. Like, I got to show off in my volleyball skills, and really. And I remember the ball was set to me, and I jumped up to swing so hard and just manpower this swing, and I missed the ball completely. Swung so hard that I flipped around on my back, landed straight on my back, and turned my head, and I made eye contact with her as I was heaving for air because the wind was knocked out of me. So it was pretty embarrassing, but that's okay.
Nailed it, is what it sounds like.
Nailed it. Never spoke to her again. Never once spoke to her again.
Last question for you. When audiences watch this movie and come out of it, what do you want them to take away from it?
Yeah, I think for me, the thing that I think is most important about this movie is really learning yourself and realizing that you don't have to conform to what other people might want you to be to pull the attention of others. I think really living in who you are and accepting who you are and loving who you are is so important. And yeah, I think that's the story, with Abby, that she's trying all these different things to get with this guy, and he really just likes her for who she is and the nerdy little things she does and the video games she plays and all of that. Yeah.
Well, sir, thank you very much, and it was great to meet you. The movie follows someone who gets advice and help from an unexpected source. Can you talk about just the importance of people being open to advice from others, even strangers?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think someone told me years ago, you learn more from your anti-mentor than your mentor. Because someone who has made the mistakes can actually teach you about how you make a mistake. And if you make one, it's okay, learn from it, and go forward. And I think the film ultimately contains two people that are at that point of making decisions in their life, and they find this unlikely bond that helps them both move forward.
Yeah. When piecing together the movie, what would you say was the most surprising challenge you faced that you just didn't expect?
We had tornadoes in Syracuse, New York for the first time in 100 years. That caused us to stop shooting in the middle of the day, and it was like, are you kidding me? Tornadoes? No. I think any film is always trying to fall apart. It just keeps going and going, and this one, it changes, it moves, the digital landscape is ever evolving, and you find yourself just saying, let's all hold on, we've got the cast, we have a brilliant director, just keep going forward. And yet everyone's like, well, but what about this, what about that? And then, again, corporate mergers, you can't deal with it, just tell your story and go forward.
My first question is, the film follows someone who gets advice and help from an unexpected source. Can you talk about the importance of, people being open to advice from others, even people they might not know?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think in life you have to be open to it because life is not predictable and linear, and you have to absorb what you can when you can. And sometimes you get advice in the right moments, sometimes you get it when you're not even looking for it, but the right thing happens. And so I think there's a serendipity to that. I mean, in the movie, she needs a certain type of guidance, and it wouldn't have been a movie if the character she meets didn't have the exact type of guidance. So I think it's a really smart question and a lot to be learned by just being open to experiences and what you can learn from everybody in life.
Now, as a producer on a movie, really any role in a movie, but as a producer especially, there's a lot of challenges to piecing everything together and getting it all done. What was the most unexpected surprise challenge that you came across that you were like, well, I would have never guessed that was going to be an issue?
I guess that's a good backup plan.
That's a really hard one. I mean, 2 strikes, I guess. 2 strikes and having to all of a sudden delay a train that you thought was already on the track. Yeah, I don't have a brilliant. I mean, American High were fantastic partners. We had everybody on the shoot was really. Was excellent. We had a blast of a time. So I think the strikes are probably the quickest answer I would have for that.
At the end of the day, what do you want audiences to take away from this movie when they walk away from it after, finishing the film?
I would say 2 things. I think one is I hope everybody sees themselves and kind of this feeling that you have at that age of uncertainty and insecurity about romance and relationships and sex and all that stuff. And so I think that there's a comfort and an accessibility to that. And then the other thing is I think Jillian brought a tremendous lens and angle on female friendship and the value of those relationships in life to this. And I hope that really connects with audiences because I think that's something that audiences should get more of.
Well, sir, thank you again and congratulations.
My pleasure. Thank you.
My first question for you is, the movie revolves around someone going and getting advice from an unexpected source. So just in your own words, why do you think it is so important for people to not be afraid to get advice from, unexpected sources or strangers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really interesting moment
where we don't have a lot of connections with people in real life, and we have more connections with people online. And I think that this is a moment where Abby, our main character, is really in need of some guidance, and it's somebody that she meets in real life, and I think that connection is really special because it's like something that you feel like when you meet somebody. So that was definitely something that drew me to it.
Now, compared to everything else you've done, how did you work to make sure that this film had a unique look?
Well, Jillian is a really visual director, so she had a lot of ideas for how different scenes would be set so that they would, the setting and the cinematography would be really used to support the story. And can you repeat the second part?
All good. Just in creating, making sure that this movie had a unique look compared to everything else you've done as well.
Yeah, no, I think that the way to make something new and fresh these days is to take inspiration from people's genre expectations. So people have seen a million high school movies, a million rom-coms, but then kind of take that expectation and turn it on its head. So I think there's some surprises in here that make this feel different from what you might be expecting based on your experience with rom-coms, high school movies.